What's up, y'all? I'm John, and I'm the founder and host of Bourbon Battle Buddies, and this is the Bourbon Battle Buddies podcast. It's a show that combines my passion for whiskey with a desire to help America's heroes. They are the men and women in uniform that serve the people of this great nation. Here, we will create a conversation of positivity and motivation and light a spark that will help change the narrative of our servicemen and women suffering from the sometimes invisible, sometimes not so invisible scars that would become their sacrifice to our nation. Sit down in your favorite chair, grab yourself a glass, pour your beverage of choice, and tonight, if you drink, come drink one with us.
This is Audrey McHugh, founder and president of the Amazonian Warrior Foundation. At my foundation, we help veterans break up with PTSD through the release of burden hikes and board sports. We also provide temporary emergency assistance to homeless veterans as needed. The craft and magical expression of bourbon is something quintessentially a veteran experience. Let's explore how to heal from PTSD and exchange ideas on using whiskey for good while drinking whiskey for good.
What's up, y'all? This is Bourbon Battle Buddies podcast, and we got a special guest of honor with us tonight. Jason Steiner from Herostock is joining us to tell us a little bit about himself and hopefully a whole lot about Herostock and where we can meet up and hang out in September.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on.
Not a problem, man. Got a chance to hang out with you the other night, and it just seemed like the right time.
Yeah. I'm glad to be on, man. I've been kind of following you guys through People Patriot Project, and then now with the Bourbon Battle Buddies. So I'm super excited to be on with you guys and watch the show with Donald Dunn the other night that you guys were on, and I was like, man, I got to get on their show now.
It's done. No, you don't have to stress about it anymore.
Got another one.
Oh, de-stress, she said, huh? Time for that.
De-stressing too.
Hold on.
I think every time we say the word stress, we should take a sip.
Love it.
Not the PTSD, because we might be done after this. Right.
No doubt.
So let's get into what we drinking real quick.
All right.
I got the Fine Crown Royal.
Ooh.
Pulled it out. I've been running low. I drink on every one of these shows, and I haven't replenished my stock. So it was the Crown Royal tonight is what I had.
You got to do what you got to do, man.
Exactly.
And I'm not opposed to a Canadian whiskey myself.
What do I plan on drinking for the whole show? Latin straight from the barrel. This one's 127 proof. Whew, like spicy, like it good. Then I'm gonna have some Redbreast cash strength. I happen to have the 21 over there, the 27 and the 32, but I don't feel like touching it. And I might crack out something out now. I mean, maybe.
Oh, it sounds fresh.
Man.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
Those are my starters. So I got 3 bottles already. Oh, we got some EC.
Yeah, this is the rye. I'm a big rye fan, and I've finally seen it. I had to try it. It's 94 proof. Really good stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really good stuff.
Who drinks that 94 proof?
Right.
Yeah, if I could find barrel proof rye, I'd drink that too.
That's awesome.
All right, Audrey, you got You ready to grill him or what?
I don't want to.
You ready?
So
You ready?
always ready. Maybe
I'm ready. Yeah.
So Jason, I know that you're Navy, so the rest of our guest doesn't. One, what made you join the military? And then what made you go amphibious? Because as you know, I'm amphibious, brown water Navy as well. It's not a like widely known or participated in craft in the military, let alone, people don't even understand what Gator Navy is. But we do, and the Marines do, right?
Right.
So what did you do in the military? And then
So
go back.
actually, I'm a Marine. I was 1833 amphib assault. Sorry, I threw you for a loop there.
Brother.
It's all good.
Department of the Navy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got mom. Mom of the. Our mom. I'm cool with that. And we were actually called Brown Water Navy too because we were on that side, the amphib side. So, no, honestly, my grandpa was a World War II vet. My dad was a officer in the Army. My uncle served 21 years in the Air Force. He was in Vietnam. Actually died because of Agent Orange from Vietnam. But honestly, the veteran route the military route was never really on my radar. And it just happened to be, I was working kind of a dead end job doing construction for a guy, making like $6 an hour back in '95. And I was like, I'm never going to go anywhere with this. Like, I'm never going to make college. I'm not. And I happened to get a postcard in the mail from a Marine recruiter. And it said, give me 15 minutes of your time. I'll give you 30 dog tags. And I'm like, hell yeah, I like dog tags. So we set up a time. He comes down and he starts to spiel, you can shoot guns your whole career. You can ride bulls. You can, we got a team for this and a team for that. You won't even, dude rolled me up. Like, I mean, he had the perfect spiel. And I'm like, but even at that point, I was like,
this recruiter's name, we got to know because I want to know about riding bulls in the Marine Corps.
Staff sergeant, man, I'd have to look it up. He was a staff sergeant. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But,
very skilled in persuasion.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I could have played softball for my whole career. He had the whole spiel down. And I was like, even that, I'm still not ready to sign.
Right.
So he pulled the ultimate. He went down to his car. He grabbed his dress blues and brought them up. And he goes, here, go in the bathroom and slip these on. Button them up. Let me know what you think. I buttoned them up and I'm like, dude, I'm sold. Where do I sign? Legit, it was the dress blues that got me. I was like,
they get so many anyway.
Right.
Snap the picture, send it to your girlfriend, and she was like, you're going.
Yeah.
Exactly. Dress blues are affectionately known as panty droppers. So
yes, they are.
When you roll up, I'd be like, they got panty droppers. I'm just saying, ladies. I'm just saying,
Right.
Because we're not doing that. But
when you look across the branches and it's like there's nobody's uniform that competes with the dress blues.
I absolutely concur.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? I guess if I'm going to do this, I'm going to look good doing it. So I'm going to go dress blues, and I wore them one time.
And how long were you in for?
I was in for 4.
And only once. Damn, that means you were working.
Yeah, I was working. We the 1 year we spent the ball over in Okinawa. Mm-hmm. And then I was on rifle range for the rest of them. So we never got to go to any more of them. So,
right.
But yeah, that's how I got sucked into the suck. And I loved it. I went in as a amphibious assault vehicle driver. My section leader, Sergeant Wheelock, he's an amazing dude. He was the most senior down at the ramp of the section leaders. And when we came out of schools, he goes, where are my country kids? And there was 4 of us that raised our hands. And he said, you're coming with me. He goes, we don't call comm, we don't call mechanics, we fix our own shit, and it always works.
Absolutely.
And we were locked and cocked, ready to roll anytime because all of our stuff was always up. We never had broken tracks. The staff sergeant that we had when we came out of school, Staff Sergeant McDonald, again, another amazing guy. He was from Texas, just a good old boy, and he watched out for us. You know, he kept the lieutenant off of us, and he knew that our section was the best, and nobody messed with us. So I had it pretty easy my first 2 years in. We went on deployment to Okinawa, spent 6 months there, came back home, and they disbanded our platoon. I got moved over to the landmine clearing platoon, so the LMCs with Amtracs. So we would carry 3 500-pound tubs of C4 and 3 rockets. And that was awesome. Like, that was the craziest job I've ever had. And you'd shoot that rocket, lay it out right over top of the concertina wire, and watch 500 pounds of C4 blow up like 100 yards in front of you.
You mean like 500 pounds of happiness?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was awesome. Yeah. Like,
so on a scale of 1 to 10, are we talking like
the
Tannerite being number 1?
It blows Tannerite away.
Man.
Yeah. It was so cool. You know, and we were in 36-ton tracks, and this thing would explode, and just the percussion from it would actually rock the tracks back on its heels. I mean, there was that much force behind it. And so it was a super cool job. I got to do that for about 6 months. And then the staff sergeant that I was with originally got moved up to be the battalion marksmanship instructor. And when I was in Okinawa, I got called up to go to the school. So I got certified to be a marksmanship instructor. And when he got called up, he's like, my guy's leaving in 4 months or whatever. You're coming up with me.
That's awesome.
He pulled me up there, and I spent the last 2 years in doing rifle range. And that was the best job I've ever had in my life. Nobody messed with us. We didn't, like, the battalion wouldn't have us on the runs. Like, we didn't mess with anybody. Nobody messed with us. And we just kind of did our own thing. And so it was pretty cool.
That sounds like an awesome job to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great job. So it's been a minute, right? We've all been out of the military a little time. So do you happen to remember the first bourbon that you had in the military? And if not, what is the bourbon that you drank during your military service compared to what you drink now?
It was probably Jack Daniels in a barracks that we snuck in during schools. I can't drink Jack Daniels anymore. I don't mess with that anymore. I
have for certain reasons too, and that's on my list.
Right. I've upped my game a little bit in the bourbon area. I do like the Templeton Rye, Soldier Valley, which is a local distillery here. They're actually one of our sponsors for Herostock.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they do bourbon, they do whiskey, they do rum and vodka.
Do you happen to know their profiles for the bourbon, like what their mash is?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Do you know if they ship?
I think they do ship. If not, when you come to Herostock this year, since they will be selling their spirits there, you can actually buy bottles from the event. And hopefully, I'm working with them right now to do a private label for Herostock. And it's in a canteen style bottle. And then they have a dog tag on it. And I'm hoping we can get a Herostock tag to attach to those for the event. So
awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Kind of a collector's edition, we'll call it that.
I'm gonna have to get 2 so I can drink 1 and have 1 to collect, you know?
Well, you could get 6 and drink 5 and have 1 to collect.
That sounds like a way better idea.
But yeah, I try
on
to
my level. This is what I'm talking about, Marine.
Buy by the case, not by the bottle.
Finally hanging out with somebody that had the same training, huh?
Right.
It's great. Oh man.
Yeah, so I've upped my bourbon game.
So Jason, what would you say?
Oh,
That's good. We all have, right? I mean,
you had a
I
big
literally
lag right
slip
there,
on
Audrey.
Blanton's Gold every day, or straight from a barrel.
Right.
I said we all have. I said thank you. So I mean, I sip on Blanton's Gold every day, and straight from the barrel. Life's pretty good.
Yeah.
Jason, what would you say that besides your nonprofit, the longest, most meaningful, impactful thing from the military that has carried all this time later on?
I would have to say it's probably just a work ethic. You know, in the Marine Corps, you don't have downtime. They don't give you downtime. If you have downtime, you find a broom and you start pushing, or you get some other fun job voluntold to you. So you just always staying busy, right? And having that work ethic of, you know, I'm not going to fail at this, and I'm not going to miss a deadline, and that kind of thing. And I got right out and started my own business. Within 9 months, I worked with my brother for 9 months and learned the flooring trade, and I jumped right out and started my own business January 2001. I got out in April of 2000. So I've run a successful business for 23 years now. So you know,
yeah, we should drink to that. A successful business for over 20 years. That's worthy, right?
yeah, it's a lot.
No doubt.
That's awesome.
But
So
yeah,
what is your business? Because you know, me, I like to support veterans, whether they be in whatever trade. They don't just have to be in bourbon, right?
right.
I definitely like to keep that circle from within. So just give a quick shout out to what your business is. It's obviously successful, and it's veteran owned and operated. So, I mean, that's definitely something that other people should be supporting, because you could say,
100%.
thank you for your service, or you could say, really, thank you for your service. We understand that you've gotten out. Here's a way I can support you. So how can somebody support you, Jason?
Jay's Floors. So I do tile and wood floors. Being this deep into my career, I'm busy all the time. We just started a 5,800 square foot plus tile job outside around a swimming pool, and like, it's just crazy. But yeah, I'm busy like almost all the time. I book usually about 3 months out, just to try to keep, you know, and then I start turning down jobs because I just can't take them all.
So maybe you should be plugging your business right now.
Well, I'm good with it. You know, you never know. You never know what tomorrow brings, right?
Right.
But yeah, it's been a ride, you know, and I've been fortunate to get with some really good people. So I have a really good designer that I work with a lot. I got a couple builders that I work with, and, you know, they keep me busy all the time, and they're just good people. So, you know, they support me in that, and they also support me in Herostock. So, you know, I have to leave the job early to jump onto a podcast. We're like, oh, do what you got to do. Just make sure you get your job done.
I say you drink bourbon on a podcast and be like,
yeah, just don't go back to the job after the podcast.
oh my goodness. So Jason, I have PTSD. You know, I've been dealing with it successfully as best I can. You know, I feel like when you have PTSD, it's like an abusive ex-boyfriend that you have to break up with and punch in the face a couple of times for it to just get off your back. So I'm not going to assume that you have PTSD, but if you do, or you have friends that have PTSD, how do you think that impacted you in any shape or form? And obviously you're successful in business. A lot of us who have PTSD are highly successful, right? Because we like disassociate from all that pain, or like, we don't really have to sit with that or deal with it. And then when things get quiet, it creeps in, you know, and you have to start facing usually pain that it's not caused by your own hand, right? It's an outside force that you have to tackle. So that's really kind of difficult to grasp. Like, I didn't bring this shit on to myself. Why is it here? You know? So how is that, if it even relates to you, how does that impact you?
You know, honestly, I think anybody that went through any of the boot camps outside of maybe the Coast Guard, you know, has PTSD.
Like, leave my coasties alone.
No, honestly, I think anybody that goes through a boot camp, you end up with PTSD of some sort, right?
Right.
Just it's a different world than what you're used to. And you deal with traumatic situations in boot camp. You know, we had 3 guys that tried to commit suicide when we were in boot camp. None of them were successful, thank God, you know, out of our platoon. But, you know, it has impacted me through my life, kind of the way I handle situations. I've taught myself to get away from those situations instead of interacting with them. But honestly, the nonprofit work that I've done, that's a huge part of it. You know, right. It's not only do I have PTSD, but these guys that went to war, you know, I served 96 to 2000, so I missed all the wars. I got lucky. Right. But talking to these guys and gals that did serve in the wars and hearing their stories and seeing the side effects of the PTSD and the way it affects them, has pushed me harder in the nonprofit world for veterans. It's really the reason why Herostock started. I was looking for a night to get out of. I worked with a hockey group. We started the Nebraska Warrior Hockey Program out of Nebraska, and it's a disabled.
Did you play hockey?
I never played hockey. My kids do.
I used to play sled hockey. That's what I wanted to know. I played sled hockey with a disabled veterans group. So just wanted to know if you got some ice time.
That's the hardest hockey to play.
It is. You ain't know. Like, you have no idea. I don't know if Jonathan's ever experienced this, right? But sled hockey, you have to go on a sled and then you hold these sticks, right? And you have to push yourself, your upper body, with these. And let me just say, I was their outreach director. I was filling in, right? Filling in because they didn't have enough team members. Right. So before like, I'll challenge you. And oh, fuck, you know what? You could challenge me on ice too. I'll probably just beat the shit out of you anyway. Right. But there's guys that I know that are now on the Olympic team, and they can get their sled up, shoot the fucking puck underneath there, and you have no idea how hard it is to balance on that sled, and even have the endurance to go back and forth with it, get up and down the ice, and then shoot a puck. And you know, and then you get to elbow people while you're doing it, right? Like, tip over on the sled, but they are so fast down that ice. It is ridiculous. So, disabled veterans, if you guys think that you can't, like, do something again, there are so many different adaptive sports. I mean, I'm a disabled veteran, and I love adaptive sports. I can't rave enough about it, but there's standing hockey teams, right, that probably Jason will reference soon for people with just PTSD. And then we have sports like hockey that are sled hockey that if you're not mobile, you can get into a sled there. It doesn't matter if you're paralyzed. It doesn't matter if you're an amputee. It doesn't matter if you have a nerve disorder like I do. There is literally a sport for you anywhere. So don't think that you can't recover or be active again, because this is what adaptive sports are all about. If you have an injury somewhere, we just go up to the next limb, and no matter what, you'll always be able to participate in sports, and sports really help save lives. So I'm stoked that you started that and then went to your own thing.
Yeah. So we actually have a team that's going up to Minnesota next weekend for the Hendrickson Festival. Okay. And if you've never seen or heard of the Hendrickson Festival, it's a disabled fest, and it's all hockey. It's mentally challenged. It's sled hockey. It's amputee hockey, warrior hockey, blind hockey. Wow. I mean, it's incredible. And it spans over 3 days. They have 8 sheets of ice, and there is something going on every sheet of ice all day long, every day. One of the coolest things I've ever seen. I got to be involved with it twice, and it's a bucket list thing. If you've never seen it and you've never been there, it is a bucket list thing to go see, because it's super cool to see all these different groups coming together. And you know, you'll have a mentally handicapped kid, and he's like, hey, can I get a picture with you guys? And the whole team surrounds him to get a picture with him, and that kind of thing, you know. So it's a super cool deal to be involved with. You know, and I love the hockey side of it. I served on the board for 4 years with my guys. We had some guys that were blown up. They were like missing chunks of their limbs, but they still had the limbs and that kind of thing. We didn't have any amputees. Most of our stuff was PTSD. But you see the camaraderie. Hockey's kind of a different sport than most because you get that time in the locker room. And I didn't realize how much it impacted these guys and gals when they'd come into this locker room and they'd sit down and they'd start gearing up. And they're sitting next to somebody they've never met. And they're like, oh, what branch did you serve in? Oh, I was Army. Yeah, I was Army too. And oh, where'd you go? Oh, I was in, Ramadi, whatever. And, oh, well, I was over there too. When were you there? Oh, I was there from this time. And they start this dialogue. And for me, I look at these discussions and this time in the locker room as a bonding time, and they find their civilian battle buddy that they can talk to. They were both in the service, but we're all out now.
Well, they're veteran battle buddy.
Yeah, exactly. And they can talk to them and they can relate to them. And next thing you know, you're seeing posts of them at a concert together or at a hockey game together or something like that. And it's like, that's what this was made for. And like I said, I served on the board 4 years with that. It was an amazing time. We had kind of a hiccup in there with some stuff with the board. Kind of blew the program apart. Me and another Marine stepped in and basically kept it all together, kept it running. We had a couple other people that jumped into, and they've rebuilt now, moving forward again. But during that time when we were trying to put things back together, I was trying to find something where we as a nonprofit could go out and do something outside of hockey. You run in a nonprofit, you're always in a spotlight, you're always running a table, you're always chasing a dollar. And it's hard to be just a veteran when you're running all this. And so I had one of my guys reach out and he goes, hey, let's have a night away, just hanging out. So I kind of jumped in and I'm like, okay, well, let me start figuring something out. So I reached out to the local axe throwing place and I was like, hey, let's do an axe throwing night. Not really thinking this through. Veterans, alcohol, and axes, but that was originally where I was headed with it. And
we carried weapons, same thing.
Exactly. So my smarter Marine neighbor came down one night and he goes, hey, instead of throwing axes, I have a band that wants to come in and play. And I'm like, cool, man, that'd be awesome. We can do some fire pits, listen to this dude play some old Hank, old Waylon, Willie, that kind of stuff, drink, maybe throw a barbecue out, make some food, just hang out. And yeah, I mean, it sounded like an amazing night. So I'm like, cool, yeah, this would be amazing. So I started down that road and I talked to the singer and he's like, October 22nd is the first day that I got that I can come in. And I was like, all right, well, that's October 22nd, Nebraska. You're either 3 foot of snow or it's 80 degrees. We don't really know.
Right.
And so I rolled the dice and I said, screw it, let's go. Come on in. And 2 days later, he comes down and he goes, hey, I got another band that wants to come in and play. And I'm like, well, let's turn this into an event then. So I had 45 days from the day of the idea to the day of vet stock is what we originally had it called. I lined up a food truck to come in. We had 2 singers that came in, one band and 1 singer that came in. We set up a cornhole tournament. We had about 75 raffle prizes that we gave out as door prizes and winners of the cornhole tournament, that kind of stuff. It turned into such a cool night. We ended up having 100 people show up and we were advertised on Facebook for about 15 days. And I legit went through. Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I was expecting like 6. And but I went through my phone.
You're a Marine. This is what you do. This is what you've been trained to. And I call them smart Marines since my best friend, we call them intelligent Marines. So, I'm like, that's a great idea, intelligent Marine. So that's what intelligent Marines. She eats crayons and is still smart as fuck. So
Yep. Well, and this guy actually ate a crayon when we were on one of the trips with one of the other teams that had a Marine. So yeah, he's our intelligent Marine.
There you go. But
awesome.
I've just adopted it to intelligent Marines, right? Because that needs to be heard enough because, the assumption is that Marines are killers, which they are, right? As they should be, right? But they're also highly intelligent. And I think that people degrade Marines, and, I love them to pieces. And I think people need to give credit where credit is due, right? Like, there's a lot of Marines that are super intelligent, super successful at business, just like yourself, right? And have a lot to contribute. But they'll definitely play dumb if you let them. Like,
right? Yeah, I mean, if I got the choice, I'm playing stupid.
Crayons. I'm done working today. I'm like, wait a second, y'all.
Right. So yeah, we had about 100 people show up, and I'm watching the event as it's going, and it was literally supposed to be a one-night deal. Like, we're gonna throw this event, everybody's gonna hang out and have fun, we're gonna pack our shit, and we're going home. And I'm watching the event, and I'm watching the high fives and the hugs and the jibber jabber back and forth across the cornhole boards, because it's an Air Force guy on one side and an Army guy on the other side, and they're just balking back and forth at each other, and the laughs and the fun that happened. And I was like, this is really a cool event.
Absolutely.
And I hit up one of my buddies, Jesse Cunningham with Wheels for Warriors USA. I said, hey man, what do you think? And he's like, bro, this is awesome. He's like, we need to kind of think about this.
Got your passion that night. It seems like the mission was right there. You executed it, and then you found it right there.
Yeah, it kind of slapped me in the face, right? I'm like, well, maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing instead of hockey. And so we actually announced that night the date for this year. And within 3 to 5 days after the event, my phone just exploded. People were asking, hey, are you doing this again? That was so much fun. We want to have this again. So I grabbed a couple people. We formed a board, put in our paperwork for the 501c, and away we went.
Got her done.
It's been a wild ride, to say the least, because it started out kind of simple, and now we have 4 bands and 2 food trucks. The cornhole tournament's coming back. We have a silent auction coming in. We've got a group called the Bravo Zulu group that's going to be jumping out of a plane pending weather with the American flag for the anthem. We've got like a ruck march that's coming into it. The Irreverent Warriors are supposed to do their silky hike into it. A motorcycle, 1,000-mile iron butt motorcycle ride for suicide awareness is going to happen. Start on Friday night, actually. So they're going to kick off the festivities on Friday night at 8:00. So I've had people reach out from Colorado, from California, from North Carolina that have heard me on the podcast, and they're like, hey, I want to be a part of this. How can we do this? How can we come in? And the excitement that I hear through them excites me even more, which makes me want to make this bigger and bigger. So, yeah, I'm anticipating 1,000 people.
Awesome.
Which is crazy, go from 100 to 1,000. That's a huge jump.
That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to just keep getting bigger, brother. Keep getting bigger.
And one of my board members, he goes, dude, I think we're going to have people standing in the parking lot because we're going to exceed the 3,000 mark. And I'm like, wow. That happens.
Guess what you do? You just put out TV screens out there, so they can see the show. So, I mean, that's a way to adapt. If you're over capacity, you just put a screen out there.
I bet the people in the parking lot are going to be veterans too, and they'll do plenty of adapting all by themselves.
Right.
Now, spring tailgating is renowned, so you just might have to put a screen out there because they might not even make it in, right?
Exactly.
Even leave the parking lot. Like, they might be like, this is the best fucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
Yes.
And during that night, actually, Wheels for Warriors USA will be giving away a bike to a veteran. They're nonprofit. They give away motorcycles to veterans all over the United States, and they create a mentorship program. They give them free gear if they need gear, riding gear. They give them lessons if they need lessons, that kind of stuff. It's a really great program. We have Deuce Outfitters Ministry. They're going to be coming in from Western Nebraska, giving away a hunt to a veteran this year. Steel Pig Forge, which is actually a for-profit veteran-owned company. He was on Forged in Fire twice.
Mhm.
He's coming in. He's going to be raffling off a knife, and I
That's
believe
awesome.
the proceeds will go back to us. We're doing a 0-100 raffle, which is something I'd never heard of. It kind of my brainstorm in the middle of working, because I've done this so long, it just becomes monotonous. So I put notes on my phone so I can talk into it while I'm working, and then I go back and look at them a couple days later, and I'm like, "Oh, that was a great idea. We need to expand on this." Or, "Oh, that was really dumb. Go ahead and delete that now."
Yep. I do the same thing. Same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, you have to, otherwise you forget it, right? So,
Yes.
you always hear the 50-50 raffles, and I'm like, I don't want half of it. I don't want half the proceeds. So I said, let's do a 0-100 raffle, where it's a $10 buy-in. You buy a business card, you write your name and phone number on it, you drop it in a bucket. The end of the night, we draw the card out, one card, and we call that person, and they get to donate all of the funds to either one nonprofit that participated in Herostock that year, or break it up with multiple nonprofits to help these younger nonprofits that might be struggling with money. It kind of came after I talked to Gunny that runs the Primal Outfitters Incorporated out of Michigan. And he was like, "Bro, I'm like pulling out of my pocket to do this." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"You can only do that so long, right?" I mean, he's using his disability, to take veterans and first responders out on his boat. And I'm like, you can only do that so long.
Hey, man, totally understand, right? I have my own nonprofit. When a homeless veteran calls me, it comes right out of my pocket. Like if they're in Texas or Florida and I got to bring a pop-up camper there to get them living out of their car, like I'm just going to do it, right? Like I can't leave them like that. I can't leave them in that situation
100%.
where they, I just can't. And so a lot of us do that. Like a lot of us just give all of us to keep giving back to do that, because we don't want our brothers and sisters suffering. So that's amazing that you do that to help smaller nonprofits, because everyone needs the support. Like we're all in this fight together, right?
Yeah.
Like we're literally choosing to do this.
Yeah.
You have a successful business. You don't have to do anything else, right? But you're like, I still have a call to serve, so I'm going to keep doing that, right?
Yep.
Jonathan's the same way. I'm the same way. And it's just something that veterans do. Like we haven't forgotten our oath to each other, and we need to keep after it. So bravo to you for doing that, because it is so impactful. Like people don't understand how $1,000 or even $5,000 can make such a huge impact, especially, for me. Like I can put them in a pop-up camper. I could buy them a pop-up camper, and then they can have a temporary housing situation until they can get back on their feet, right? Or $800 is a campground for a month, right? And so people don't understand how even what you think is a small amount is life-saving. So cheers to you for doing that, because it's needed. It's super needed.
Yeah, and my thought on it was, okay, we get the 1,000 people that I'm talking about, and everybody buys one card. $10,000 to most nonprofits is life-changing. I mean, that's huge. Like most of them don't raise $10,000 in a year. So you dump $10,000 into a nonprofit that's doing great things for veterans, and it completely changes the scope of what they can do, and really pushes them along. And that's kind of where that thought came from, and Gunny, I've watched his post on Facebook, and like he's taking veterans out all the time on these boats, and bringing in big hordes of fish that they're catching, and just the smiles that you see even through the pictures that he's posting. And I'm like, that's it right there. You don't have to give them $1,000. You take them out for a day and give them that chance to connect with you and connect with each other, or have the time to reflect. And that's where it changes. And, for him, $10,000 that's huge.
Yes.
So that was kind of where that idea came from. And the more I develop it, the more I like the idea of it and what we're doing with it. Part of it is too, to show veteran nonprofits, we can all work together. We're in the same fight.
Hold on, we gotta have a drink for that. Hold on. Let's say it again. Veteran nonprofits, we can all work together. There's money for everywhere. Like, we all have to save lives. We can all work together.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, there's not one nonprofit out there that's the do all sale. They can't cover everybody. I have people that don't like hockey. Guess what? I got a group that does motorcycles. I got a group that does hunting and fishing. I got the Combat Warriors out of Kearney. They do hunting and fishing trips. Very, very small budget. So part of this is
snowboarding, paddleboarding, one-wheeling, and surfing. So now you can add that into your thing. And
there
hiking.
You go. You know, and that's just it. You know, the networking, the connections, that's really what Herostock has kind of turned into, whether it's the connection of veteran group and veteran group, you know, a nonprofit, a nonprofit and a for-profit, or just the person to person, right? Finding that person that you can relate to, finding that group that you want to be a part of, and helping with giving them a home, to a place that they feel like home with, a group that they feel like home with, right?
Yeah.
Outside of their home, because most veterans will not talk about the shit that they saw in the service to their family. No. I mean, they don't want them to deal with it, so they keep it buried. They will talk to another veteran about it, you know, and it may be a stranger. They don't even know this guy, but they may need to unload that day. And this is a spot where you find somebody and you start a conversation, and all of a sudden you're talking about, you know, the trenches and what you saw, and that one day to release the demons, one day to just let it all go, hang out and have fun. That's what Herostock is. And as we talk about it, and as it's growing, because it's literally growing, I just talked to another veteran singer today, and he's talking about wanting to come in for Herostock next year, and maybe even make the trip this year to Herostock just to see what it's about. But it's, you know, just and my connections, like I'm getting connections across.
When is Herostock? Like, when, you know, when is this party getting started?
Herostock, it starts on September 8th with the Harley ride, or the motorcycle ride, leaving Frontier Harley out of Lincoln. September 9th, around 10 a.m., they're going to kick off the Ruck March and the Irreverent Warriors Silky Hike. Everything will land.
I'm going to throw up this graphic real quick while you talk, man.
Everything will land back at Herostock. September 9th, 2:00 is the big kickoff. That's the cornhole kickoff. Food trucks will be set up and ready to go. And then that will go, we have till 10:30 on the paper, but we're actually looking at probably extending that a little bit more, because the 4 bands are going to do about 90-minute sets. And with setup and tear down, it'll probably extend a little bit past 10:30 at night. Raffle, like I said, there's a couple raffles that day that you can get involved with. You can jump into the 100-0 raffle for the nonprofits. Bid on stuff in the silent auction if you want. We have some amazing bands coming in. Around 3-ish, 3:30-ish is when the Bravo Zulu group's going to try to do their jump in. When they do their jump in, my daughter's actually singing the national anthem, which I'm super excited to hear. She makes me cry every single time. And then she's going to do Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA. And then she's got one more song she wants to do. And then Guitars for Vets will kick off the bands, which is a national nonprofit.
Yes, I know.
Taylor Ullman here in Omaha. She's amazing. She's like killing it with the Guitars for Vets out of Omaha. So I reached out to her and she's like, well, you want us to come in and sing? I'm like, hell yeah, I want you to come in and sing. You're a veteran group. Why would I not want you to come in and sing? So they're coming in. They're going to kick us off. Then we have the Blue Collar Band. They're out of North Platte, Nebraska. They do 70s, 80s kind of throwback, country rock, all kinds of stuff. Kind of a bar band.
Awesome.
Yeah, and super veteran supporters. Then we have Scotty Hastings. So Scotty Hastings, if somebody doesn't know who Scotty Hastings is, Google him, YouTube him. He is a combat wounded veteran from Afghanistan, took 10 bullets from the thigh to his right shoulder, left thigh to his right shoulder. Took a couple in his plate carrier, one in his weapon. Ended up going to Walter Reed to recover. Started shooting competitive archery, left-handed, even though he's a right-handed person, because he has nerve damage in his right hand and he can't feel the trigger. So he picked up a bow and figured out how to shoot it left-handed and shot competitively with a compound bow. And I'm like, it's just ridiculous in itself.
Bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. COVID hits, shuts him down, shuts down all the competitive sports. He grabs a guitar, starts watching YouTube, teaches himself how to play guitar. And I mean, so Shannon Book will tell you he wears a horseshoe up his ass because anything this guy touches turns to gold. But he starts hitting the outskirts of Nashville because Nashville shut down over COVID. So he hits all these bars on the outskirts of Nashville, and he hits open mic nights. And next thing you know, he's a signed artist. He signed with I believe it's Black River Entertainment, Kelsey Ballerini's label.
Yeah.
But he's coming in. I'm super excited to have him in. He's actually staying at my house. I'm like, do you want the Ritz-Carlton? Do you want a Super 8? What do you? He goes, you got a bed and a pillow? I'm like, yeah. He goes, I'm good with that. So he's actually staying at my house. Yeah, my daughter's probably more excited to meet him than I am because she wants to pick his brain about the music stuff. And about Kelsey Ballerini too. So yeah, I mean, I might fangirl on him. I really don't know.
It's possible. No judgment. No judgment.
In one of her songs, I will pay to see that.
If anybody's gone through that amount of stress and found a way to pull through and come out stronger, I'm about that life, man. I'd fanboy on that. He deserves it.
And I'm going to tell you right now, he is one of the most down-to-earth people you will ever talk to. Like, I was bullshitting with him like I was calling one of my buddies. And we sat, it was like 11:30 at night. I was on a job site. And I called him out on the contagion effect when I was on there. And I was like, if Scotty Hastings wants to come in and play, man, I'd totally be down. Within a week, I signed him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was super cool. Super cool.
But Jonathan did say the word stress. So as per our agreement, everyone has to take a sip. No, not me.
I like it. And then our final band is actually the Dylan Bloom Band. He comes out of Grand Island, Nebraska, huge veteran supporter, and just an amazing person. He's a farmer, but he plays gigs. He writes a lot of his own stuff. He does some cover stuff, but a majority of what he sings is his own music.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it just honestly, the bands this year are just ridiculous.
It's fire. They're fire. Sounds like they're fire.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Like I said, this thing changes by the day, and every day I just keep getting more and more excited because something new is happening, something new is changing.
It sounds sort of like by the time this event kicks off, you might have next year's planning halfway done.
Oh, I think he's already done.
We're actually working through next year right now before we get this one done.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I got reached out to by a guy. His band's name is Lockjaw. He's out of Dallas, Texas area. Does heavy metal, and he'd heard about it, and he's like, "Bro, I want to come up and play." And I'm like, "I'm maxed out. Like, I have no extra time to put another band in." And he goes, "Okay, next year." He goes, "My friends are Breaking Benjamin, Seven Dust, starts naming Five Finger Death Punch, starts naming off these bands." And I'm like,
I just want to say,
right. So I'm like, okay, cool. And he goes, next year you should do 2 days. So we're planning for at least 2 days next year.
When do you? Because I'm actually in Chicago when you're having Hero Fest, so I'm bummed. But I'm also going to see Pearl Jam in concert, so not too bummed, right?
Right. Consolation prize.
No idea. So I would love to make your next one. So is it going to be around the same time in September again? Okay,
Yep,
so
yep.
September, your Hero Fest, like this is the time I do my my big event every year. Okay.
Yep. Part of it is, so next year's the 13th and 14th is what we're looking at in September, because in Nebraska you have to plan everything around Husker football. Because if you plan anything on a football day when they're here in town, you have 90,000 people in town, which is ridiculous because nobody knows how to drive. And B, nobody will come to an event. They will go to Husker football over it doesn't matter how cool your event is, they will go to the football game. So we plan everything around Husker football come football season.
Makes sense. To go Penn State. That's where I'm from. We football a couple of times. Anyway, so Jason, what would you say made you passionate about whiskey? Like what? So one, do you prefer bourbon over Scotch or Irish whiskey? And what made you really say, "Gosh, I love drinking this shit"? What's your go-to bottle? And then what made you passionate about this?
Whew. My go-to bottle is probably Makers. I enjoy Makers.
Pour?
What's that?
I said that's a great pour. That's a good pour.
I enjoy it. I really do. Passionate about, and I like whiskey. I like bourbon, like straight up bourbon. Usually on the rocks, unless I'm drinking something cheap for some reason, then it's mixed with Coke.
No Pepsi here? What the hell?
I'm a Coke guy, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, we'll let it go.
But part of it is I'm actually allergic to beer. So something in the beer, like I drink one beer and I feel like I have a hangover. So I started.
Or the yeast that's in there. It doesn't matter because I'm not a big beer drinker. I am a bourbon 100%. So I feel you on that. Like, the whole thing is whiskey does it quicker, right? So you can get off of work in the military, have a little time, eat some food, get drunk, blow off steam for the next day, go to bed for a couple hours, and then go PT, right? So I never got the guys that drank beer. I mean, I think there's some good craft beer out there. I'm not going to do it, but bourbon is my jam, man. It's just, you can say bourbon is an American-made whiskey, right? And the military helped create it, and we helped transport it everywhere. So, if you're military, you gotta at least try it. Try bourbon, right? Upgrade yourself a little bit, and come into this world of bourbon because it's ready for you. It's waiting.
It's delicious, right?
It takes a little bit of trial and error sometimes, but there's something out there that you're bound to like. We will help you find it.
Say less, bro. Say less. Proof you like it, I will steer you in the right way. Like, if you like that spiciness, I'm gonna hit you with that heat, right? I'm gonna hit you with try a rye, right? Or a high proof, a straight from the barrel, right? You're gonna like that spice, that Kentucky Kiss hits you real good, yummy, right? You don't like that as much, then I'm gonna tell you go to a lighter proof, right? So I'm gonna tell you to stick it at like a 93 to a 95 to a 96 and try that bourbon. But there is something there that's for you. And especially as veterans, we should be out there supporting our veteran distilleries. We should be out there drinking bourbon because it's ours. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, there's no reason. But Jason, so what made you passionate about whiskey that you're like, I don't need fucking beer?
You said it. Liquor's quicker. I mean, that's. I honestly, I like to just sip on a nice cold glass of a good whiskey and just hang out. That's my passion to it. I'm not crazy. I don't I've watched some of your stuff where you're like, I found this at this, and then I'm like, that is some cool stuff, man. But I don't have the time to do that. I don't have the patience to do that. So I'm like, makers, here it is.
Well, whatever goes on these lips gotta be 100% greatness, right?
Right.
Greatness. Is it my fault that I got bourbon that was like, I found some stuff that was 200 years old? Not really. Like I said, I am after what y'all don't know. I'm gonna school y'all a little bit real quick. There is George Washington, right? Thomas Jefferson, the founding fathers, they made their own bourbon, right? And they, when George Washington said, hey, I don't want to be fucking monarch, right? We just defeated that, right? We're going to have a elected democracy, right? They all came together and they made this bourbon batch, right? And so the rumor is that bourbon still exists, like that the bourbon from George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Madison, Hamilton, it's still around, right? And so I'm hunting for that, right? I am hunting for this like epic, delicious, catch you right off guard kind of pour. So, when I look for that next one, right, it's with that intent, right? Like I am looking for the founding fathers' intent of bourbon.
I see a episode or an episode. I see a National Treasure 6 coming out right here.
Right.
I'm gonna be real with it, right? Like I have some family members that, my family's very connected to that. And, if you look at the way Washington, D.C. is spelled out, you understand that source lines were directed at certain angles, right? Like the intent of how when we left Philly, right? When we left the old city and we designed Washington, D.C., this was intentful, right? The fact that the Washington Monument is 555 is significant, right? It is significant. And if you know anything about that, I'm not going to go into it and create a conspiracy here, but really built things or the monument itself to certain angles. And there's a reason why in DC that the Washington Monument is not obstructed in certain angles, right? So the Masons believed, which a lot of our founding fathers were, they believed that these source lines or angles were absolutely important in keeping our country together. Like that this energy that was going that way was critical in keeping the Constitution defended. And so that is why some of the stuff was laid out. The Washington Monument took a little while to build. There was a point where it wasn't even being done. And then each state actually put a stone inside of it, right? So there's different limestone, there's different character in it. And that's what that's supposed to represent. Like it's supposed to represent all 50 states being in this monument. But yes, National Treasure, if you look at certain angles off of different monuments or things that the founders made, you will see that there's a next waypoint. Like it is designed in that way. It is not hard to find it. There are times where I've gone at sunset to different monuments or sunrise, and the answer's there. Like you literally see a light beam in an angle of direction. That's how well thought this out is, that you can literally follow the light beam to the next monument. And then you curve and go to the next angle. So, I'm in DC, so I enjoy that time. But yeah, I'm after the founding fathers bourbon collection.
That's like the Mickey Mantle rookie card, right? I mean, you find it's the holy grail.
I'm a Yankees fan, and I do have, right there, I just have the new Yankee Stadium painting that was just sent to me, so I appreciate that from another veteran.
Right.
I mean, for me, I'm passionate about whiskey, but, I love pre-prohibition whiskey, right? Like I enjoy that before there were all these regulations and big guys trying to come in there. A lot of people were blending some magic, right? So for me, I'm a brand ambassador for Mountain Pleasant Whiskey Club, right? And so that's a pre-prohibition whiskey. And so I'm able to enjoy this as if I lived back in that time period. So Yes, definitely.
No,
But
that's awesome.
There's got to be something that made you passionate about whiskey.
Made me passionate about whiskey.
When you're drinking it, Maureen, you're drinking it.
I mean, it's just I love just that it takes the edge off, just kind of calms you a little bit. I'm passionate about it. I love it. Like that's my go-to drink is a nice clean whiskey, and I'd rather drink that than pretty much anything else. So
I like the for me, I like the story behind it, man.
right.
Like, when you talk about this percentage of corn or this particular strand of rye makes added to the corn. And there's so many little intricacies of this type of yeast will produce this type of flavor. And it gets insane. And obviously I don't know what it all is, but I just enjoy drinking it and trying my best to just see what differences there are in between each one. You know what I mean?
Right. Part of it's the bottles.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy just the bottles sometimes, looking at those. And we went to Minnesota with a hockey trip for one of my kids. And I went into the liquor store and I was like, I want a good bottle of whiskey. And the guy's like, oh, do this one. It's super cool bottle. And it had loons on it. And my grandparents used to go up to Canada and my grandma loved the loons. So I'm like, oh, I need to grab this bottle. It was the worst whiskey I've ever had in my life. It was horrible. Cool bottle, but it was horrid. Like I was like, no, I can't even drink this stuff. It's so bad. But yeah, I agree, Jonathan. Like in the backstory of it, what it takes, what was put into it to make what you're drinking is super cool. And getting to see that firsthand, whether you go to a distillery and actually watch them do the process of it, that's really cool to me. And, I watch moonshiners a lot.
Right.
And you get to see them guys where they're infusing apricots into it or they're infusing strawberries into it. And just getting to see that side of it where you're like, oh, well, you can actually completely change the flavor by bringing in, like you say, this rye adds a different flavor to it, or, this fruit you can use to make this, and it makes a whole different flavor palette.
Right.
Yeah.
And for like what a lot of people don't realize is when you use a white corn versus a yellow corn changes your spice profile and bourbon in general. Right. And so like literally the farm you go to source your it's so important. Right. And people they just sip it and they don't even appreciate how much effort or thought went into like, oh, wow, I know I want it spicy, right? So I'm going to use this corn strain to do this. And just changing the two makes a whole different batch for someone, right? And I would say that bourbon is military, right? It belongs to us. It belongs to us. The military and bourbon, it's like this, right? So, when we stopped drinking tea, right? Like we really said, we're going to drink our own shit. Like we don't need you. Okay? Right. Like we don't need you. We can make our own whiskey. Like that's what people don't understand. Ale and tea and meat and all these things, like in the Revolutionary War, it was very common, right? So we're saying we're going to increase our dependence to a place that is oppressing us and charging us taxation, right? So we're going to start getting into this for ourselves. And we had a lot of immigrants to help us do that, right? Like I'm of Irish descent and Scottish descent and Welsh descent, right? So when my family went into the Appalachians, they immediately started brewing and making moonshine, right? Like it's just like a normal thing because you're not drinking like tea, right? Like this is what you have on standard. Like if you have a cold, here's your honey and here's this what we distilled, right? Like honey and this works together, right? But people, they've fallen away from that and not understanding like this is American. And if you are a patriot, right, get yourself some bourbon. Like get in there. And if you really want to be patriotic and thank a veteran for their service, try a veteran distiller. Especially try a veteran distiller because they're putting their hand into it. Like, don't get me wrong, man. I love blends, right? I love it. Like, that's what my Instagram is known for. I go on hikes, and I have bourbon gratitude hikes. So I literally hike by myself. I mean, I'm talking about like 5 miles in. I stay on a cliff, right, for the whole night. I watch the sunset. I bring my bourbon. I take pictures of these bottles that people have donated to me, or I'm just taking them because I love photography and I love bourbon, right? This is something that, for my PTSD, hiking, photography, and bourbon gratitude hikes, they're my way to go, right? And so I enjoy it, right? But I want more veterans to experience the things that belong to them. And bourbon's one of them. Like, this is ours. We created this.
Right. Well, and part of it too is the heritage that's handed down with it. You know, moonshiners is a prime example. This was my great granddaddy's recipe that's been handed down for 4 generations, and now I have it in my hands, and I'm making the exact same whiskey that he made 4 generations. Right. And that's, to me, that's super cool. I really like that because it's the handing down of the torch per se, and so that's really cool to me, is to hear the backstory on some of that kind of stuff with the home brews or the and that kind of thing where it was handed down.
Yes, I like that. One of the reasons why I really like Uncle Nearest is because of the story behind it and how it all got to happen. But the story behind the bottle, like the pre-prohibition Old Forester bottles, those are, all of that. That's
me and pre-prohibition Old Forester bottles. We like.
They're fantastic, man. They're all fantastic.
For a good price point, right? Like, you're not killing yourself to drink whiskey, which I think that's important. I think that you should be able to drink whiskey, enjoy it, and not pay an arm and a fucking leg. Like, secondary, okay, you can see my Blanton's photo that's in there. I'm not going to overpay for Blanton's. Like, I'm not, and I encourage you not to too, because you're making it worse. When you buy stuff on the secondary market marked out, all you're doing is encouraging that kind of bad behavior. And so when you guys said, like, moonshine, right? I'm just going to, killing moonshine Mullins, right? This is actually my cousin, Oakley Dean, right? So, we make moonshine, right? In my family, I actually made moonshine in the Navy, as a couple of runs, because I was like, this shit we're drinking is horrendous. We cannot keep drinking Boone's Farm, y'all. We just can't.
We did, but we shouldn't have been.
Right.
Everything. But I was saying, like, in my ancestors and my genealogy, they ain't going to keep approving, right? So, I was hiking one time in North Kakalaki. Just in the woods, I ran upon a still, right? And this guy came out of nowhere and was like, what are you doing here? And I was like, I'm hiking. Like, what the fuck are you doing here, bro? And I was like, don't make me hurt you. Like, I'm not trying to come out of my experience. I'm on leave right now. I'm trying to be happy. Right. He was like, would you like to learn how to run to shine? And I was like, well, my family has already done that, right? Like, we have this whole thing with this feud and everything that we were part of. The Hatford and McCoy's, right?
Right.
So, like, I'll learn some shine. Let's do it. Let's do some white lightning right here. And he taught me, right? And so this craft was, like, passed down on me, like, by a stranger before I even knew what my family's, like, shit really was, right? And so it's funny. Like, I was really good at making it already because it's already something I know how to do, right? Genetically. Sure. And there's a lot of veterans that probably are great at making whiskey or even selling whiskey or farming, right? There's all these grants that USDA has approved for veterans that if you have your own farm, you can have so much subsidized and given to you, because farming is one of the hardest jobs out here. I don't care what anyone says. While we go on vacation, whether it's for livestock or crops, they don't really go on vacation. It is a 365 all the time. And if you have livestock like it is harder for you to go on anywhere because you have to have somebody that can feed your animals, right? So we know that the farmer is so important, but also we know the farmer is very important to making bourbon. So when you can support a farmer locally, it's definitely something you should attempt to do, even if it's just buying a head of lettuce, right? Because what you don't understand is like, that's where your bourbon comes from. So if you're serious about drinking whiskey, support a local farmer. Because they have one of the hardest jobs out there. And, they have the weather to deal with. And it's hard. Being a farmer is hard. And these big farms, they have it easy. These locally owned family farms that have been run for generations are getting slammed. They're getting slammed. They feel it hard. So there's got to be a way for us to do better. Now, veterans, if they get involved with whiskey, they can suddenly help a farmer that maybe wouldn't have planted that in a field. They would have put soy in there instead. But now they can plant your barley there.
Right.
And so it's a way for us to keep helping each other get back to where we need to be, because we all just need to help and support each other. But I mean, there's a way to literally drink and help.
And do what you love and help somebody else.
They figured out whiskey for good thing, but I have, and let me show you the way.
I love it.
Jason, we kind of already hit the hero stock pretty hard, but this is happening on September 9th this year. You're looking at another September date for next year around the same time frame. What was it? I know you said earlier that it was just you wanted to do something, and then everything, like the music part of it, just kind of happened, and it happened quick, right?
Right.
So what was it that really drove you to wanting to do the initial part of this, and get it going and turn it into what it is?
So the initial part of it was just to hang out. Like, I just wanted to spend time with veterans and excuse me, not be at a table, not be running an organization, just be a veteran and hang out. That was originally why I started it. The drive behind it to keep it going and growing is, we had one veteran last year. He was kind of milling by himself, and I happened to see him, and I went up, I'm like, "Hey, I'm Jason Steiner, I'm founder of That Stock. Hope you're having a great time." And he's like, "My name's John." And that was all he said. And I'm like, "All right, well, if you need anything, give me a holler." And I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, I'm going to watch this kid, right? He's younger. I'm just going to kind of keep an eye on him. And later in the night, I saw a group of Marines, and he was kind of standing there bullshitting with them. So I went up and I'm like, "Hey, jumped in the conversation, found out later that he had severe PTSD, severe anxiety. Sounded like he kind of went to work, went home, went to bed, went to work, went home, went to bed. Like didn't really step out of his house. So it was amazing that he was there to begin with. But as we were in this conversation, he goes, "I had no idea there was this many different veterans organizations, and we had 12, like we legit 12 organizations.
Way more than that.
There's 66,000 through the United States." And I'm thinking, okay, I was the same way. I got out in 2000. I knew of the Legion and I knew of the VFW. I didn't know of all these other veterans organizations, which I know a lot have popped up since, but and then you hear the big ones, the Tunnels for Towers, the Wounded Warrior Project, the national ones. So you knew of those, but anything local, it was just those two. And it wasn't until I got into the nonprofit world and I started like getting deep into it, board wise, and figuring out that, holy shit, there's a lot of different veterans organizations. Well, that's something they don't tell you when you separate from the service.
No.
When I got out, it was, here's your DD-214, kick rocks. Unless we need you, then we'll call you back.
Yeah.
You
do
know,
you want to go to a resume writing class? If you don't, you don't have to. Like, that's it, right?
Yeah, and that was exactly it. Like, I never did the SEP or the TAPS or whatever they called it, because I was like, no, I'm on a range. I want to finish my group with a range. But so for me, it was, we can highlight veteran nonprofits at this with our organization, our events. And that was one thing that we did last year and it was kind of an on the fly deal. And I said, holy shit, we got 12 different organizations here. Here, take the mic. You give a 30-second elevator, who you are, what you do, and how to get in contact with you. And we actually had people join those organizations because of VetStock. And so that's something that we want to keep with as we grow. And we have 100 organizations with us. We want to be able to give them the chance to say, here we are. Do you want to be part of us?
Yeah.
And give that veteran a home away from home, give them a group to hang with that they associate with, whether it's motorcycles, hockey, hunting, fishing, surfboards, skiing, whatever it is, just a chance to understand that there is a group out there for everyone. One of the other podcasts I did, he was like, it's a pick your flavor right now, because there's so many different veterans organizations. But at the same time, I want to show the veterans organizations that if we work together, all work towards the same mission, we can all help more than trying to take that whole pie to ourselves.
Yeah.
And now we're actually talking about expanding just outside of Nebraska. That was a conversation that I had with Gunny up at Primal Outfitters. And he lives right on Lake Michigan. So I'm going up in July to do a fishing trip with him and scout venues and possibly do a pre-Herostock party next year in Michigan. I've been invited down to Nashville. I've been invited to Texas. I've been invited to Florida to come down and look and see what they have.
And now Louisiana, but
and Louisiana, and that's just it. So we're looking at
DC and the Poconos too, homie.
You're going to be a busy man.
And that's kind of the direction that this is headed. Is we're talking about possibly doing like a concert series with it sometime down the line. And we were talking venues the other day, and then we went up to the Wayne America Fly-In, and they did a airplane, the Stoll drag races, the static takeoff and landing. Craziest thing. If you've never seen them, you got to see them, because it's the craziest thing. They're taking planes off in 20 feet and they're landing them in 40. Just insane. But we went up there and we were talking about this, me and one of the board members, and he goes, let's do an airport series. Get into these small municipal airports. We rent a hangar. That's where the band plays out of. But then you got all this land for people to drag in campers, pop tents, hang out, vendors come in, and it's all secured. So you can sell tickets to the public, but yet still keep your veteran, first responders, and Gold Star families 100% free to come in. And so that may actually be an angle that we're looking at in 3 to 5 years, is doing a 6 to 8 stop concert series to help fund Herostock every year.
That's amazing. We can play awesome. Bands on, right? Like, I can see like us doing this in 3 years, and here's Jason, and we're like, bring your band on, right? Like, let's interview. And I can't wait to see you grow and be super successful. And I just want to reiterate, as a person that has a nonprofit, right? I went in there like, hey man, like, I was homeless before. I know what it's like to be a homeless veteran. I know what it's like to sleep in my car and not have any food and water, and go after that, right? So I'm going to go help these people. But what I got into, I realized there was still like end fighting, because people are so concerned about money. Like, where's this pie? I need all of this pie, right? It's all mine, right? Not understanding that, like, nonprofits like yours, like just like mine, build this bond that we're searching for, that we've been missing from the military, right? Like, we're trying to get back to our people, right? And so it's so nice, right? Genuinely nice to hear someone that says, and I say the same thing over and over again, like, we're all on this line together. We're all shoulder to shoulder together. Like, we are trying to do the one thing that other people can't do, which is combat veterans killing themselves. So literally, we're here trying to end veteran suicide. We're trying to mitigate this under the worst circumstance ever, right? And we all have to work together. And there's so much infighting that it's like, bro, did we all serve, right? Like, are we all on the same team? And we are all on the same team. So Jason, I just want to say thank you once again for doing what you're doing, because it's such an important thing, especially for all nonprofits, to understand that we are in this together. And the less time we spend fighting with each other and the more time we go after it, the more lives we get to save. And that's what this is all about. It's saving a life of our brother and sister. That's literally what this is about. And if you're not in it for that, if you're in it to make money, if you're in it to take $200,000 for your nonprofit while you're living life, that's literally $200,000 that could go to build veteran homelessness, right? So understanding that you should be in this field because you want to do the right thing, because you want to make sure that the 22 a day, which we know the number is higher, mitigates to maybe 1 or 2. Like, that's what we're after right here. Yep. And I'm just excited, and to know that Herostock is doing that, putting that camaraderie together, putting that brotherhood and sisterhood back together, networking, letting veterans pick and choose what other veteran organizations that they can do. And I'm just happy to know you are well and that you are kicking ass, Marine. Like, take no names, Semper Fi, do or die, fuck them up.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm probably having more fun doing this than I should, honestly, because it's been a blast. It's been a riot doing this stuff.
And your passion, you should always be happy and having fun.
Right.
And we have hard days when, veterans have been killed or they have killed themselves. They've taken their life, right? Like, my organization feels that. I feel that I don't go to sleep, right? But in general, like, the goal should be enriching the lives of other veterans and active duty service members so we can keep them in the fight and we can make sure that they don't end their life. Like, that is what this all is about. So 100%. Cheers to Herostock for serious, right? Like, yeah, that's a model, right? Like,
that's a salute.
Look, I got Jonathan drinking out of a bottle now. He's like, I gotta be Army strong with this Navy.
So when we did the Memorial Day podcast and we were all on together, I brought out the Evan Williams Heroes Edition, and I fresh popped that, and everybody, which I appreciate it because I was not aware that so many people had actually watched the first podcast. Or watch the videos and all, but as soon as I popped open the bottle, they were like, "You better turn that whole bottle up." That's how Bourbon Battle Buddies does it. It was great, man, and I feel with you guys, and like everything I wrote down, I really don't have to say because you covered it all already. But the thought that these nonprofits actually get to meet each other, because it's not just the veterans that don't know that there's other nonprofits out there. It's the nonprofits that don't know. And right. these smaller nonprofits like Amazonian Warrior Foundation, Herostock, People's Patriot Project, and I'm sure there's plenty of others that I'm not thinking about right now, but these people have a mission, and knowing that there's someone in the field that can help with that mission when it's not your designate, you know what I mean? Like, it may not be your designated field, but just if Audrey gets a veteran that needs a camper for a weekend or for however long, there's other organizations there that can help with that. Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of it all. And the part that you talk about of working together. You got to build the network, and that's what it's all about. If you don't know you don't know. So get out there and I love what you're doing, man. I love your entire approach to it. Honestly, you said it. It almost feels guilty that you're having so much fun with it, but I mean, you got another job. You don't,
Right. Yeah, it makes me not.
You
feel
don't need
so
two
guilty
jobs.
But no, I mean, and we have like 35 nonprofits coming in, and I like, as I'm searching, I keep finding more and more nonprofits that I'd never heard of. So it's kind of cool for me to be able to see, what else is out there. And literally it's like, I'm talking to people in California, North Carolina, Louisiana, Texas, Michigan. Like, I'm making contacts throughout the United States from all these nonprofits that I'd never even heard of. And Primal Outfitter, he wanted to buy a boat. He had a little 19-foot center console that he was using to take veterans and first responders out. And he found a 30-foot boat that he was trying to buy, and it was like $30,000. And so I was talking to him and I said, hey, man, I've got this. Literally, it's our donor list, or not our donor list, but our tiered sponsorship. And I said, let me send this to you. I said, you use our format, change it to whatever you need to do to get sponsors to help buy this boat so you can take out wheelchair-bound veterans and first responders. And he took it and he used it and changed it to whatever he needed to, and he ended up purchasing that $30,000 boat.
Awesome.
Yeah. And that's what it's about. Like, if I can help you, I'm gonna bend over backwards. If you're doing the right thing and doing it for the right reasons, I'm gonna bend over backwards to help you get what you need to do to make your nonprofit the best it can be. And that's what I want Herostock to be, is that place where everybody sees that, hey, I've got this equine therapy program. Oh, well, hey, I got a dude over here that loves horses and he's got severe PTSD. Here you go. And it's networking to know what all's out there and be able to place those individuals, our heroes, into those places to make them feel more at home.
Right. And that's what we're supposed to do, right? Because this mission of saving lives is a big one. And not everybody needs to do all these lanes, right? Efficiency, what we were taught in the military, if somebody's doing that lane and you have honor, I don't need to do your job, right?
Right.
Hold up. Let me delegate and send all these people over here, right? Okay. That is what we're trained to do. So if you're saying, like, this is my MOS, this is my specialty, I'm going to send them all your way, right? Like, I don't want to reinvent the wheel, right? I just want to improve the wheel running better. Right. And so, that's what we all have to do in this thing, is to make sure that we access the right thing, because we're literally trying to save a life. And Jason, that is what you were trying to do. And I'm grateful that you came on the show today, and I'm excited for you. I'm excited for your organization to grow. My nonprofit deals with people that were raped in the military, along with combat veterans for PTSD. And we actually have the highest rate of suicide among everything, right? We kill ourselves more than combat veterans, which is shocking, but not surprising, right? And so there's all these programs out here for combat veterans for this. Not that my brothers and sisters don't deserve that, right? But we have this whole section of people that are silenced and dying because of it. And so we need to put these two together so that we can get stronger again. 100%. And I'm so excited to hear what you're doing. And I think that Herostock is going to be dope. And I'm definitely, I got to see Pearl Jam. Yeah. Got to see it. I don't have a ticket spot. I don't want to tour. It was hefty. But I'm going to be at the next one. I'm definitely going to, you made me motivated to go. And I definitely want to go here, not this year, but next year's. But everybody else should go, because, unless you bought Pearl Jam tickets, y'all don't have an excuse.
Thank you.
I love it. Well, and I appreciate you guys having me on and let me talk about it. Obviously, you see, it's my passion, right? It's something that I want to see grow into something amazing. My vision. It will. I mean, it already has. It's already growing faster than I ever thought it would. But it's one of those deals where in 10 years I want to host 50,000 people. You know, if we can host 50,000 people, that's my 10-year goal.
My suggestion is to do it on a beach. Having done this year now, festivals in New Jersey and ONLF here that's in California. There are like beaches in Cali and New Jersey you to access and have them actually do concerts right on the beach. So just there, maybe people could do some surfing at the same time.
Right. You know, and that may happen. The crazy thing is I have no idea which direction we're headed. So it may be an airport, it may be a beach. I mean, we don't really know.
Or two. I love to fly Navy. But you know, I'm just saying there's a beach opportunity as well.
Right. I appreciate you guys, what you guys are doing, giving veterans a platform to talk, tell their stories. Talk about events like Herostock. It's a great thing, and I've enjoyed your podcast, and I look forward to more of them coming out and following you guys as you guys grow too. So,
awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna throw this QR code up here. You want to tell people a little bit about where they can find you and all things Herostock? Go ahead.
Yep. So if you hit the QR code, it'll take you to our link tree. That will give you our website. It will give you our Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all that kind of stuff, all the social media stuff. There is a donate button on the website. If you choose to donate, you can do it that way. We accept PayPal, Venmo, cash, credit cards. And that's, you know, it's an important part of what we're doing is the donation side of it too. Because these events, they're not free for us to put on. They're 100% free to everybody to attend, but for us to put it on, obviously it's not free. So, if we want to see this continue and grow, it's something that we need as the donation side of it. So yeah, and check out the Facebook page. I'm constantly posting on there. I'm sharing other group stuff too. So if you follow the Facebook page, you'll see a lot of other veteran events that I do share, whether it be, you know, podcasts that I've been on and follow, or whether it's other veterans organizations. I do a lot of sharing of that too. So
I seen your recent post about if I go on a podcast and I talk about you, I'll just mention you here, and it's like a list of 6-7 different people that you just.
Yep. Did you see the one for the Ruck It Up? So I just shared and it may be on my personal page actually. It's drop your socks and grab your rucksacks.
Oh. I didn't see that one.
I had to throw the socks part in there, you know. So
there's going to be a lot of that moving forward, I believe.
Right.
I did see Tom today, and I don't recall us mentioning it, but also at the event, there's going to be a how do you say this? A jacket off donation.
You run with this one, brother.
So had Audrey introduce this part. Okay. But go ahead, John. You started it.
Let me get my gloves on.
Whatever your slogans are.
There's going to be a Army Strong jacket off competition or donation box, but there's going to be there's all kind of fun things going on here, and if you get a chance to follow Jason on any of his social media, the guy's been promoting Herostock rapidly. That's what we'll say.
Yep.
Right.
All the time.
We'll make sure to put down Jason's IG and all his social media on this podcast, so you can take a look and go follow him and kind of support what they're doing. Obviously, it's a worthy cause, or we wouldn't have them on, right? Yeah. So make sure you follow him, kind of keep up to date, and like get yourself there, because this seems like an event you don't want to miss. And honestly, I think Jason is picking bands, like especially with veteran bands, that are going to be up and coming artists. So if you want a way to support veterans, support your brother and sister and their music career that are literally going to be up and coming, who are using their pain into purpose, this is the time, right? Like follow Jason, follow these other artists, and go support them, because this is what we need to do as veterans and active duty service members. This is our brotherhood. This is our sisterhood. And we need to support the people that are getting after it, period. Yeah. So those links will be down below. And please, definitely get out there and go. I can't go, so you need to go for me. And then like brag about how wonderful it was.
I'm hoping I can be there, man.
I'm going to explain just a little bit more on the jacket off. So it's a jacket donation. Donald Dunn's doing it for homeless veterans. So it's actually jackets, like coats, jacket off donation, and we're doing a competition. So
if you got any old coats or jackets that you don't need, just bring them and toss them in the donation box, and then we'll go to homeless veterans and
to make sure that they're worthy of donation, right? Because while I volunteered I volunteered at several different homeless veteran organizations. The worst part is you have to sort through all this stuff.
Right.
Half the stuff that people donate is garbage. Please use a garbage can for that, right? Like we're literally trying to put veterans in good, clean jackets, or jackets that they can wear in a professional setting as they're getting back into the workforce. So when you make a donation, gently used means gently used, like something that you would still wear, but you're going to go buy something else. So please keep that in mind when you make donations, because the time it takes to sort everything, and then you have no idea how much stuff gets thrown out. So make it easier for us, right? Donate something that's wonderful. Donate something that maybe your grandmother gave you that you would never want to wear, but would look good, right? Look good on a veteran, right? And they're going out there and reclaiming their life. So it's so important that they do it in something that's going to make them feel empowered. So give them that empowerment. Do not give them trash. Yep. Give them the good shit, y'all. The good shit. And guess what, y'all? It is a tax donation. You get a 501c3. You get this little piece of paper to give to the IRS and say, I did something good, right? Yeah. So you will make sure it's worthy of that little piece of paper. Just saying.
100%. Yep. Thank you. I appreciate that side of it too.
So true. I have sorted through so much stuff, right? That people are, and I'm like, yo, this has fucking trash on it. It has leaves on it. Like, goddamn, you could have thrown it in your fucking trash can, right? This is not worthy of a veteran wearing, like you're trying to clothe somebody who's lost everything, like everything. So keep that in mind. They are rebuilding their life, and your jacket, they'll probably keep for the rest of their life. So they remember like, damn, this was the first jacket that I got back after I was done being homeless. Or this was the first jacket that I wore to my first interview and I got a job out of it. It's my lucky jacket. So all I'm saying is put that empowerment, put that magic bat out there. If you're going to do a good deed, do a real good deed. Like do something that you would be proud of.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I do have to pimp the Apex Predator. I just got their shirt yesterday. It's the Tackle 22. He gives he's back to Tackle 22 to help them out. So yeah. And then the Herostock hat, you can get that online too. If you follow my page.
That's the icon. Come in closer. Come on, right there. All right. There we go. Okay.
The light's a little bright on it.
Look, here we go. Top left right here. There we go.
Here, intelligent Marine getting after it. That looks cool.
But again, you guys, I really appreciate you having me on. Herostock's going to grow. It's going to continue to grow. We're going to keep pushing it. As Jonathan said, I'm a little aggressive when I promote something. So it's out there. You will find it. If you search Herostock, you will find it because I'm pushing it out on every platform that I can because I think it's one of those things that will essentially help somebody, and that's what we're after. So
yeah, it's not an event. It's an event that you cannot miss, right? It's an event that literally, if you have PTSD, right, and you are struggling, go see your brothers and sisters put on this concert, right? Go play some cornhole. Go look at these vendors, and it might literally save your life. It will reconnect you with, because when we leave the military, we leave a part of our family. And so what Herostock is doing is like they're giving you the ability to, one, get help for PTSD, and two, enjoy yourself and say fuck everything for a minute and enjoy it with your brothers and sisters, right? But in that time period, they're giving you access to things that can help change your life. And so that's why you got to go. That's why you got to go, because right now you're struggling, and this is an organization that can help you get on the right path, right? Whatever your path may be. It may be that you just want to fish and drink beer. I mean, I'm telling you to drink bourbon, but you're American, okay? If that's not your jam, right? These guys can hook you up with fishing trips. They can hook you up with hunting trips. They can find you the right kind of therapy for you, because just because you might hate horses, right? So equine therapy isn't going to be for you, doesn't mean that fly fishing won't change your life. Like, I fly fish. I love it. It is the most relaxing thing you can do. All I'm saying to you as a veteran that is struggling, right, is try it. And if it doesn't work for you, he's got over 30 other vendors that can help change your life. There's no excuse. Just come out. Just give it a go.
Gotta happen.
My PTSD won't let me get there. We got you. I'm just letting you know. We got you, right? This is a place where you are safe to go.
Yep. And it's 100% free.
Yep.
You're not losing anything but time. If you don't like it, you lost a couple hours.
You're going to hear some good jams. You're going to get some good food. You're going to hear and support other veterans. Like, what's there not to love?
You're probably going to be surrounded by more veterans than you have been since you were in uniform.
100%.
Somebody there that's going to be able to relate to you. And that's the best thing is about when you're a veteran, other than giving shit about what branch you were in, because let's be real, we all do it. There's still that brotherhood and sisterhood, right? Like, we're still going to love you regardless. And this is a great way for you to reintroduce yourself with people that understand the same shit you do, right? Period. Yes. Right? Nobody's judging you. Nobody's saying, oh, you have PTSD. Bro, we all got PTSD, right? So do crowds. We're all doing crowds to be able to enjoy this. So just come out. Like, just give it a chance. Give yourself a chance, because you're worthy of it.
Yep. Come out and hang. It'll be a great time.
Audrey, you got anything closing?
I'm good, homie. I mean, I'm gonna drink some bourbon, but
I'm gonna throw this up there real quick. We'll have the links to Amazonian Warrior Foundation in the description as well. If you have any questions or concerns or anything that you heard that you would like to discuss with Audrey, just hit up the links and you will be able to find her.
And if you hit up my personal page, Jason Steiner on Facebook, hit me up. I'll answer you back. I'm struggling with the Herostock messaging, but because I can't remember my password.
Have I been there?
I literally changed my business cards to my personal email because I was like, you know what? I'm so busy. I cannot maintain 2 emails. So Jason, do not feel bad about that, right? The fact that you're putting yourself out there, you're still able to be reached. Anyone can reach you at any time, just like they can reach me. If you're on active duty, and you need me, you're having problems with the VA, right? Like you're not getting the right health care. You've been waitlisted. Please contact me. I will advocate for you. I will make sure that you get the care that you need. If you're suffering from severe PTSD, complex PTSD, please let me help you. I have so many avenues to put you in. And then if you've been raped on active duty, I'm here, right? I've been through the same thing that you've been through, and I will advocate for you 100% and get you the care that you need. But not only that, able to advocate for your justice that you need in this situation. So please, if you're a homeless veteran and you're in need of a pop-up camper, I got one right now, right? Like it's waiting for you. If you're homeless and you don't understand the VASH system, or you're in your car and you're suffering, or you're in a tent like I used to be, and your mind is gone, right? Because you're just trying to focus on water, food, and keeping warm or keeping cool. Please contact me, right? Like I will figure out whatever state that you're in. It does not matter. I do not want you in that car. I do not want you under that bridge. I do not want you in that tent. You are 90% likely to kill yourselves. Please let me help alleviate the pain that you're going through and find the right path to get you shelter and housing, because you deserve it. You deserve, as a person that gave up everything for this country, to at least not be homeless. So please contact me and let me help you. And if I can't help you, I guarantee you I can find you another veteran that will.
Yep.
Like
100%.
Just that.
100%. We there's a big network, and we're putting it all together. We're putting it all together at Herostock.
There you go.
So
2023, September 9th, around the Bend Steakhouse, Ashland, Nebraska.
yeah, we'll put I'll grab that address. We'll throw that up in the links as well.
Okay.
We always try to close out with positivity. I think tonight's show was pretty dadgum positive. So I'll just, if y'all have anything to say on a positive note to add to what happened tonight, other than that, I'd just say, man, keep fighting. Don't ever stop. If you're willing to make it through to the next day, chances are you'll find something that changes your life. Just push.
Yep.
Just push, never stop.
Yep. One day away from a life change. That's all it is.
And just a reminder, guys, I put a Glock 17 in my fucking mouth, pulled the trigger in 2021, right? So technically I'm only 2 years old. But I found my purpose, right? My pain into purpose, right? So if you are struggling right now and you're like, I just want to fucking end it all, I'm tired of this pain. Yo, bro, I literally tried to do it, right? And the universe, God said, stay here, right? So I'm supposed to help you. So when you're in that darkness, right, like know that there's light. Know there is something afterwards for you to get back after it. And it doesn't have to be like you're going to start a nonprofit, right, to help save the lives of other veterans. It could be that you fucking like woodworking and that you just want to make things again and be a creator rather than a destroyer, right? Yeah. There is something there for you. And it doesn't matter if you can't find it. There's like Herostock. There's so many other veteran organizations out there that can find your passion and put your pain into purpose. So you think you are truly not alone. Do not kill yourself, right? Do not kill yourself, because there's so much beauty. Every day that I wake up and I see a new sunset, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. When I see a sunrise, I'm grateful. I'm here another day and I'm not supposed to be. So that means you are supposed to be here too. You're supposed to be here, right? Do not let all this bullshit trauma that's literally probably not even your own fault. And if some of it is yours, dude, I guarantee you out of the 100%, you probably only have like 2 to 3% for yourself, right? So stop being so hard on yourself. We're here for you. Reach out. And if you can't reach out to our organization, 988. And if that doesn't work, You call somebody on here, you message us, whatever. We're here for you. We are literally your battle, right? Until you find the battle that you want and that you're in your passion, we're here for you. So do not take that lightly. We made a vow to each other, and that's what this is all about. We made a solemn vow. Like, we raised our hand, right? We raised our hand, and you're not forgotten, man. You are not forgotten. We are here for you.
I don't know what else to say. Cheers.
Cheers, man. I'm done ranting.
As we close out all of our episodes, we'll share a song by Chris Turner. It's called "If You Drink," and during the intro, and I kind of enjoy saying it actually. But if you drink, come drink one with us, and you can drink one with a whole bunch of us at Herostock.
Yes, you can.
So with that said, we'll close out. Thank you guys for listening in to another episode. Jason, man, it was awesome to have you, and I look forward to helping you spread word of your event in any way possible. And I hope September 9th brings good fortune for you, and which I'm sure it will, but for me, because I want to be there.
I want you there. So yeah, hopefully it does. Appreciate you guys and everything you do.
All right. You got something, Audrey? Sorry.
No, I'm good. I just told him I appreciate him.
Absolutely. This is Chris Turner with If You Drink. Y'all have a good night.
He was driving somewhere between Gallup and Winslow on an old stretch of Route 66. At the end of his rope, looking for hope, but he found this old bar here instead. The neon was dusty, the door hinges rusty, on the window a handwritten sign. Between the Paps and the Coors and the two swinging doors, faded words, but he read them just fine. If you cheat, hope it's death that you're cheating. If you lie with someone you love. If you fight, do it for the right reasons. If you drink, then come drink one with us. The whole place was packed. Waitress waved him on back, set him up on the last stool. She said, man, I can tell you've been going through hell. Well, we've all come out of there too. And we live by our own golden rule. If you cheat, hope it's death that you're cheating. If you lie with someone you love. If you fight, do it for the right reasons. If you drink, then come drink one with us. All we can do is the best that we can. So we're all sinners, forgivers, and friends. If you cheat, hope it's death that you're cheating. If you lie with someone you love. If you fight, do it for the right reasons. If If you drink, then come drink one with us. If you drink, then come drink one with us. Drink one with us.